Hey, stars, it's me, Shard Star, and I'm back. Listen, I know that, like I told you on yesterday's video, I had been missing in action because of things that's going on at home, right? So now I have time. It's raining, so no one's working, no noise is going on. So I'm here. First off, you're going to be surprised today, okay? Surprise, 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 surprise. Well, nevertheless, I'm drinking some coffee today. I don't know. I woke up this morning wanting coffee. I don't know what that is. I'm not a coffee drinker really. I'm really tea, and in the winters maybe hot chocolate and stuff like that. But for some reason, I like iced coffee. I'm sorry. Yeah, iced coffee, not frozen coffee. I've made that mistake and ordered frozen, and I'm like, I like iced coffee at certain times of the year, right? And a little known fact: before the pandemic, and when everyone was working in the office, right? I belong to like a coffee group where all of us, when we traveled or went away on the weekends, we would pick up exotic coffees from different places all over the world. I like chocolate-based coffees and stuff like that, and Belgium coffees and Belgium chocolate and hazelnuts and pecans. So I would bring those type of, and I didn't drink everything, but I taste everything. They were percolated it was like real coffee grinds and stuff. And we did this for like, wow, we did this for over a year. And then when the pandemic happened, well, of course, we were disbanded. Everybody was home and it's never, but every now and again, I do wake up and I feel like coffee. And it's nothing extra. I'm actually drinking some Maxwell House mild, with a little creamer, like that. But anyway, moving right along. Um, with our story. Oh, please. I want to just tell you guys thank you again for your guys' support. As you see, the channel is definitely growing. Again, I have video viewership up to 10,000. I have as far as followers and people that's subscribing, I'm over 1,000. So I'm doing really good with it, and apparently I'm doing something right because it's definitely growing. Again, I've been doing this YouTube thing for 8 months or 9 months or something, and it took a while. And people don't understand it's a lot of work, especially when you're like a 1 or 2 man show, but mostly one, because Leighton used to help me out a lot. And he's still behind the scenes. Like he picks out all my mics and lighting and different things that I need. And next thing I know, I get up to come do a show or come in here in my office to do a show. Oh, let's not even talk about my office. I'm going to reveal my office within the next couple of weeks. Leighton has transformed my workspace that I've been working at since the pandemic, right? Well, now like everything has been gutted. Like I have a beautiful new big large desk, and listen, I got a lot of stuff, new stuff, mixing boards. I'm about to start giving you guys effects, like if instead of me, because YouTube has a lot of things where you can't say certain things. You don't say ooting, you go pow pow, right? You don't say ed or F, it's more they're unalived. You have to say certain things. So now I have like a mixing board actually, and it has like different. So I got the gunshots. I got if it's a pow 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 situation. You know what I mean? If we booing them, if we come across the store, we not feeling, I hit the boo sign, boo, boo. Very that. Listen, we're about to get really interactive, and again, I know that I've come off to some people very stuffy, and I'm not stuffy, but I have different sides of me. But now that we're growing and there's a lot of you, because guys, I stayed at a certain mark for a long time, meaning subscribers and stuff like that. Now that I have videos that's 10,000, 8,000, 7, like, are you for real? So people are listening. Okay, so enough talking about that. I'm not going to keep you all day. However, come on into the sanctuary, kids, children, come into the sanctuary. Did you guys know that back in May 9th, we're still in May 9th, Newark Airport had a complete blackout, meaning the air traffic controllers, right? They lost complete signal to all radars for 90 seconds, which is a minute and a half, which could cause so much can happen in a half a second. So can you imagine not being able to see any planes? on your scanners for a minute and a half. Okay, so an air traffic controller left traumatized and placed on leave after being the only one on duty during terrifying 90-second blackout. That's crazy because we know that if you take your eyes off the road, if you're driving, if you take your eyes off the road for 3 seconds, something could jump in front of you and something can happen. Can you imagine airplanes that are flying at the speed of 100 miles per hour, hundreds of miles per hour, and for 90 seconds you don't? It's getting crazier and crazier to me. Like I don't even know how people right now getting up going to the airport. I'm sorry. I pray for you. Listen, I don't know going away on a trip that probably supposed to be relaxing, right? I would be so stressed out getting on and off of a plane that's all I'll be thinking about. I'm not relaxing. I'm not chilling at the pool. I ain't doing nothing. I'm sitting there worried, like, I don't want to go back on this plane. Like real talk. Okay. So maybe I've been a little bit of a drama queen, but it's real, son. And for people not to be able to see for 90 seconds a complete blackout, that's crazy. That's diabolical. That's ridiculous. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit. The one air traffic controller that was on duty on May 9th, right when the incident occurred, states, I was so shaken by the incident, I was put on stress-related trauma leave the following day. The woman wrote in the Times about the May 9th incident. Okay, so we know that it's a woman. It says an air traffic controller who's chosen to remain anonymous has recalled being the only one on duty working for Newark Liberty International Airport when the system blacked out for 90 seconds in the early hours of May 9th. The 39-year-old woman from New York told the Times she's now been placed on leave after being left traumatized by the incident. To be without eyes and ears in air traffic control for a full minute and a half is absolutely terrifying, she wrote. Okay, so she's saying that she's been traumatized from the 90-second blackout, right? And I would too. I'm not even going to lie, because even when we watch, like, remember Airplane, the movies, Airplane 1, 2, 3, 15. Okay, remember the Airplane? And when it used to be comedic, funny. But you remember how the things in the air traffic control, they used to do all these scenes and they be running and everything be frantic. And could you imagine something like that happening, where we see in movies where something like that happened? They're telling you get on this and you get on. Can you imagine being the only person there and you're like, what? You got thousands of people in the air, and right now you can't see any of them. You don't know where they're going, if they're heading into one another. Wow. Listen, I keep saying every day, and I'm going to bring you these stories, and I'm going to tell you what it is straight up and down, because that's crazy. 90 seconds. So, yeah, so I perfectly get why she's been placed on leave, because truly, it would be me too. Okay, now the other day, listen, this was really, really funny to me, and I realized it when it hit. When it hit and I saw it, I said, somebody made a mistake, because, of course, most of us went directly to the website of Ticketmaster to find out about Brandy and Monica's tour. Now, allegedly, we're going to say allegedly, because, again, this whole thing is because they haven't announced it. Ticketmaster's oops moment. Brandy and Monica's tour sparks fan excitement. Okay, now I'm a huge Brandy fan, always have been, and for my own personal reasons, like always have been. Yeah, so I say all that to say, and Monica, I'm a fan of Monica, but it's just that, Monica doesn't put out as much work as she used to. You know what I mean? So Brandy is more so putting out stuff every now and again, and an album here, a little yang around the house, that type thing. Well, what happened was Ticketmaster put on their website that Brandy and Monica tour, which is called The Boy Is Mine, right, is supposed to be starting at some time, and they gave out one date, and I think it was down south somewhere, right? They said it's featuring Brandy, Monica, Kelly Rowland, and Mooney Long. Mooney Long, right? I remember her. Possible ticket slip up. Again, is no one even knew that this concert or that this touring was going to happen. But apparently, Ticketmaster is already prepared for it, and they announced it without the artist actually announcing it. So, people are saying, is it real? Is it not real? But it's real because as of yesterday, if you went to Ticketmaster, they do have the Brandy and Monica, The Boy Is Mine. It's a tour that is supposed to go on, and it's supposed to have special guests, like I said, Kelly Rowland and Mooney Long. I'm in. I don't even care. Now, they can get me a little $200, a little yang, whatever. And if I have to pay more to be someplace else, that's fine too. I'm a person, like I told you, about phobias and anxieties. I'm not big on crowds, and you ain't gonna see me at parades and stuff like that. That's just not my thing. It never has been. Like, people know, I'll show up, I'll drive anyway. I'm not getting on public transportation. And I'm out for a couple of hours and boom, 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 I'm out. I'm done. So nevertheless, but yeah, again, Ticketmaster put the word out and spills the beans. They're saying fans are wondering if they will be seeing two of America's R&B icons, Norwood and Arnold, at Monica Arnold and Brandy Norwood at Ticketmaster spills the beans, revealing tickets that suggested the two stars will tour from November 13th. Like, I think the first stop was down south somewhere. So this is supposed to be in November. So we're only in May. So this was announced way early. And again, Ticketmaster did it. So y'all might as well just go ahead and release it and release the rest of the dates, and let's move on and let's keep it pushing, because the truth of the matter is out and people are interested in it. So with that being said, let's move on. I'm waiting. I'm there. Okay, so I'm sure some of you guys have heard about it because I kind of sat on it for a day or so. I just didn't know what to think about it, and I had a lot of ideas, and I don't just want to come on here and just ramble crap out my mouth. I want to tell you what I really think and how I really feel, and I didn't know how I felt about this one, and maybe I still don't, but we're gonna tackle it, because I'm not gonna let this be old news for you just because I can't decide on which way I'm going. Okay, well. It says, I'm pulling out. Nurse fatally removes her mother's breathing tube in ICU because she wanted her to go in peace. Okay. So, this is the woman, and she's a nurse. So keep that in mind. She's a nurse. This wasn't just I forgot what they used to call it, but let's talk about it a little bit. Okay. Let me get rid of this so you can see me, so you can understand exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, this happened in Florida. Florida nurse is in jail after she allegedly removed the incubation tube from her mother as she laid in an intensive care unit bed at a Miami hospital, and she later passed away. Giussetta Sabrina Green, 54, is facing charges of aggravated manslaughter of an elderly person. Court records show she is in the Miami-Dade County Jail without bond. So they wouldn't even give her a bond. Listen, I don't know how, and I've spoke about this even off this years ago. I forgot what they call it. I remember Dr. Kevorkian. Remember, he was that doctor that people that wanted to unalive themselves for whatever reason, meaning cancer and different things, something that they've been going through for so long, and it's like a suffering. And I remember there was a big deal with people wanting to put their parents out of pain, but it's a tricky slope. And you got to remember, this particular woman is a nurse, so she absolutely knew what she was doing. Okay, so it says, according to the arrest affidavit, this happened on last Friday, at North Shore Medical Center in Miami. The affidavit report says Green's mother, who was admitted into the hospital on May 5th for shortness of breath. The mother's health worsened, and she was transferred over to ICU. On Friday, Green reportedly called her son and daughter to come to the hospital because of her mother's health continuing to deteriorate, right? Green and other witnesses were in the room when the defendant allegedly said, "I'm pulling out," and removed the incubation from her mom, the patient. I've actually, I don't know. See, this is where I've been stuck with this story, right? Okay. Of course, everyone has a mother and a grandmother. I don't know what type of relationships they have, but I would have done anything for mine. And I don't know if there was a lot of suffering going on, and because honestly, I forgot 50 Cent's show and Canaan, Raising Canaan, and this went on a couple of episodes in this particular show where Rock's mother had cancer and it was spreading all through her body, and of course Rock is the girl, and then she has two other brothers, and the mother actually went to the brothers and asked them to do it, but they couldn't do it, and they in turn told the sister what the mother was asking them to do, and they were asking them to like give her something just to make her go to sleep and not wake up, right? And the boys, of course, couldn't do it, but Rock, because she's this thing, everybody thought, oh, she'll do it for sure. It wasn't about that. She really loved her mother, and they had a very complicated and difficult relationship because Rock was the oldest. So she saw, the oldest child sees everything. Where the younger child, they may get you at a good time in your life, but the oldest is seeing you when you had not, whatever, right? Boom. And she did it. She did it for her mother, begged her, and she said she loved her. She wanted to show her mother that she loved her so much. She put her out of misery. But that was on TV. This is live. So this is real. This woman, like I said, Joanne Sabrina Green, she was 54. She's a nurse, and she pulled the plug. An alarm went off, and the hospital staff rushed into the room to help the victim, but Green told them to stop. And she said she wanted her mother to go in peace. The affidavit reportedly said the mother passed away shortly thereafter. Green reportedly left the hospital, but cops with the Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office had arrested her at her home. And she's now up for charges. And I don't know how I would feel about that, huh? I don't know what the conversation was with her and her mom. I don't know what the relationship was with her and her mom. Think of this. Okay, boom. It can play out in different ways. What if she didn't have a great relationship with her mom and the family's known that and everyone knows that they didn't get along, and since she does something like this, then you question it. You're like, wow, did she do that because she disliked her so much or whatever? But if they were a loving family or anything of the, or, anything of that way, nothing's perfect all the time. And the mom suggested to her, you know what? I can't take it. Please do something. You're a nurse. Please do something. You took an oath. They taught to play on your heart chords. You took an oath, but that's a funny thing because now she's ruined her whole career. Regardless if we think it's right or wrong, she's in jail facing manslaughter charges, I believe. But what was weird to me was the mom was already on a breathing apparatus, right? That's what was keeping her alive. Because clearly after the woman unplugged it, boom, she was gone. So since she was at a point of no return, she was never going to get better. Should she be charged with murder? That's the question. I mean, technically, yes, because the machine was keeping her alive and she was alive at the time that she did what she did, allegedly. Okay, fine. But should she, since the mother was at a point of no return, she was going to, and they can clearly say, well, we all going to pass at some point, but that's not what I'm saying. She was at that point. Like, come on, people, y'all know. When something's keeping you breathing, you can't breathe on your own. Come on. So I don't know. And this was the difficulty I had with this story. But let me know in the comments what you think. I don't know. A love for a mother and everything else. Wow. It's different. It's different. I shared something with Leighton this morning, but you know what? I'll do that for another thing. But the mother's love. I don't know what to say to you. A mother's love. I don't know. I don't know what the situation was. And I think that most of us won't know until we're actually put into that situation. Excuse me, people. That coffee done got warm on me. I mean, it's kind of getting room temperature, and I'm not a big coffee person, so I don't care about warming it up and all of that. Give me something. So that's what my problem is. So yeah, so she's facing charges now. I don't know, but I'm sure we haven't heard the end of it because I'm actually going to stay on this one. I want to know how that goes, how it goes with her. Yeah. Okay. So look, y'all ready to kiki with me a little bit because I don't really give you very seldom do I talk about the community and different types of relationships and same-sex marriages and same-sex relationships. Y'all guys know what it is. It is what it is. I'm just saying I don't really bring that to you because that's not what my page and what my platform is about. It's about all news. And that would be gay, straight, whatever, wherever the story is, and it's something I think we should know or something we should talk about, then we will. Okay, but this happens to be a same-sex marriage, right? About two men. So if this is not for you, you can leave the room. I'll give you a second. And actually, if you got some kids around listening to me, because I have a kid-friendly channel, but this is for adults. This is not for kids, and I'm not going to watch everything that I say. I already explained to you that I come from a very religious family, and I have family members that are bishops and things of the sort, and so I try to keep the profanity down so that they can hear what I have to say and not have to, gag every now and again. But nevertheless. Okay, so this story, right, is about a billionaire mogul. Now this is about some coins. So this is how, and this lets you know how we're all somewhat different, but we're all the same. And meaning, how can I say? Well, you know what? I don't know because I don't know if they really were in love or not. But we're gonna get into this real quick, okay? All right. So billionaire mogul David Geffen. He's 82 years old. Well, he's now filed for divorce from a former male go-go dancer, 32 years old, that he married with no prenup. So this billionaire, David Geffen, he's 82 years old. He married a former male go-go dancer who's 32 years old with no prenup. And you say, who would do that? But you know what? Some people are smarter, actually much smarter than you think. So I want to give you the visual so you can say, okay, what does this 82-year-old look like? And what does this 32-year-old look like? Well, here you go. Clearly, we're going to get through this. This is all right here. Look at me circling. I'm circling. That's 82. This 32. Okay. Okay. So let's get into this story and let's talk about it. Okay. So billionaire David Geffen, 82, he married a former go-go dancer, which I think is unfair. I mean, I just look when they do these stories, to make the younger one look like a gold digger or something, because he was a go-go dancer, because I'm familiar with the story a little bit, of course. He was a go-go dancer, but he was also a model. He was also different things, you know what I mean? So why did they push to just former go-go dancer like that? Like this old man went into a bar one night and saw this man dancing and snatched him off the stage and went and took him away from all that and married him. And now he works for me, Charlie. That type of thing. Charlie, I'm joking. So David Geffen, he married this young man. They've been married for 2 years now. Apparently, I don't. They're not saying wow, but David Geffen filed for divorce, stating irrevocable. Y'all know what it is. I ain't never been married. I ain't never been divorced, so I wouldn't know. I don't know. I'll get to it. But anyway, so entertainment billionaire David Geffen has filed for divorce from his husband, David Armstrong, after just under 2 years of marriage. Okay. Now, the 82-year-old mogul tied the knot with the go-go dancer. You see how they keep putting go-go dancer in? Why they couldn't say former model? Why they couldn't say, okay, go-go dancer 32, who goes by the name Donovan Michaels when he performed in 2023. Okay. And the two did not sign a prenup. With the help of a well-known divorce attorney, Laura Wessler, Geffen cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for their split, according to TMZ, right? Okay. Despite not signing a prenup, Forbes put the retired businessman net worth at $8.7 billion. Not 8 million, $8.7 billion. And those of you who are not um, familiar with David Geffen, because like I said, it's not just a gay thing. He's been in the record business and music business for years. Okay, so they said Geffen, we're going to tell you where his money comes from. He co-founded Asylum Records back in 1971. Then he founded Geffen Records in 1980. And then he also found DGC Records in 1990 and co-founded DreamWorks Records in 1996. So this man has founded like 5 record labels, okay? And when you're talking about DreamWorks, you already know, okay? However, the record executive he's been retired for 15 years. Now listen to this point, seriously. He's been retired for 15 years and his income now consists of stocks and equities, which are separate properties. Okay. Per California law, dividends from stocks remain separate, which could possibly leave Armstrong, the 32-year-old, without a large cash settlement. The performer will receive spousal support for a year. However, since under California law, spouses receive payments for half of the length of the marriage. So because they've only been married 2 years, he's only going to get spousal support for 1 year. You only could do half of whatever the marriage is. So if you're married for 6 years, you only can get spousal support for 3. Get it? Okay. So you be saying, what? He married to a billionaire. Well, Geffen's will also pay Armstrong spousal support and attorney fees. So he's going to pay the spousal support for a year, whatever that comes to, whatever they agree on. And he's going to pay for his attorney fees. This is what TMZ is reporting, right? Citing divorce documents. The pair reportedly met in 2020 when Armstrong served as a personal trainer for Geffen before marrying in a private ceremony in Beverly Hills. In 2023, details surrounding Armstrong's past came to light, meaning he was a go-go, which I think he knew, but it may have been a little more than that. I mean, I'm surprised he ain't been caught up into the Puffy thing, but that's allegedly. I'm just joking. His former friend told the Post at the time that the dancer's income stemmed from picking up odd jobs in New York and Miami. The go-go dancer was born David Armstrong in Michigan until he began going by Brandon Foster after relocating to Florida in 2014. The trainer started dancing and promoting parties at gay clubs around Miami, including clothing optional pool parties. Okay. Along with plenty of other hot guys parties. Okay, we ain't got to go through that. They just really they're trying to make him look like and it's unnecessary because we've all done things in our life. I mean, we all ain't been go-go dancers or maybe escorts or anything, but that's may not be our story, but there's plenty that have that story, and it is what it is. So yeah, so they found so he's gonna pay him. But my thing is, you would think, oh, I'm married to a billionaire. He's about to come off and come up. The thing is, because he's been retired for 15 years and he's no longer bringing in money in that manner, he's living off of stocks and bonds and annuities, even though it's worth billions of dollars. Yeah. Young boy, rather, David. He can't get none of that. He can't get none of that. Now, had he still been working and running these record labels and still getting in a salary and getting their money, then he probably could get a big cash payout. But being with a billionaire worth $8.7 billion, okay? And for you to leave that relationship with, I don't know, for the year, even if you give him $1 million, say, okay, I'm gonna give you a spousal support for a year because you've only been married 2, and in California state, you only can get half of that. So you can give him $1 million for the year, and he's going to pay his lawyer fee. So that's really $1 million for him, and that's pretty much what he can come out with. He can come out with less than that. It depends on how it feels because they don't have a prenup, and because allegedly and what the story is really about, Mr. Geffen he's not making money. He just has money. And that money is stocks and bonds, things that can't be touched in a divorce. So I don't know. So was it worth it? I hope it was real love, at least, that he had to put up with that 82-year-old man. I'm being honest with you. Let's be for real. 82-year-olds. Okay. Anyway, let's go. Okay. So again, we're going to talk about school. School. Matter of fact, you know what? We're going to talk about school next. Since we were just talking about money, we're going to go here. Okay. So Cassie, right? It came out Cassie with the puffy thing. Since we were just leaving the Geffen and talking about money, let's talk about some more money. And then we'll go on to the um Cassie, you remember that she settled with Puffy, right? And it came out during her testimony that she settled with him for $20 million, right? Now there have been rumors allegedly that she had got anywhere from 50 million to 100 million, and I don't understand how she ended up with 20 million, only because that was her initial thing, for what I remember, allegedly. So after you filed and he settled, it should have been more, but nevertheless, get the money and run, girl. You work for that money, you earned that money. um okay, so that's 20 million. Well, do you know that after the tape was released of now, I don't have to say allegedly, we all saw the beating, but allegedly, that Puffy did to Cassie in the Intercontinental Hotel. Remember where we saw him knock her down and drag her and kick her and all that stuff, right? The video we saw with our own eyes. Hello. Well, because that tape came out and we found out that they had hid it and accepted money from him and to hide the tape from all this time and all this crap, whatever went on, right? The deal that allegedly Puffy had made with security who had the tapes and all of that, right? Well, because it happened and it comes out that it was hidden and sold and this, that, and the other and not reported, Cassie allegedly admitted that she got a settlement from the hotel, or will be getting a settlement from the hotel for 10 million, because it happened on their grounds, and the employees decided to hide it and not report it and all those things, which is against the law. So you're pretty much an accessory. So they settled out of court with Cassie Cassandra Ventura again for 10 million. So now she's 30 million up, because like I said to you before, Puffy wound up paying her 20 million for nothing, really, because everything he tried to keep quiet wound up coming out of her mouth during the trial, which is going on now, right? And again, I said that you could sign those NDAs; they do not trump the courts bringing you in and speaking. It can't. NDA does not go against anything criminal. If it's criminal, it can be spoken of. They can bring you in and you can talk about it without having to worry about being sued or anything. A NDA does not trump something criminal, which is what's going on, right? So, yeah. So Cassie is up, baby. 30 million. I see she having them kids. She's on her third, if I'm not mistaken, right? I believe. So I mean, cool. I mean, listen, we get so hooked up as people about millions of dollars and 100 million. We're to the point where when I was growing up, if you wanted to hit lotto for 2 million or 3 million, now there's no one cares about millions. They cares about billions. It's like ridiculous. And most of us live on a real salary. And that depends on your education. It depends on what field you're in and what you're doing. But people live off of real money. Some people would never have millions of dollars at one time in our bank account. You may have a million. You may have 700,000-800,000 in your bank account as cash flow. That's fine. But we so ridiculous. 10 million, 20 million, $30 million. You can turn $30 million into generational money very easily. Because most of us never make that or get that, and we live and make it and do well. Some of us, right? So you think $30 million is good. You ain't got to work again. You make some investments, you open up some franchises. That's what I would do to keep money coming in. Do something. I'm not working there, but I'll own them and keep pushing. So yeah, so I thought that was interesting that Cassie settled with the hotel where that whole thing went, and because the video came out public and we realized she received or will be receiving allegedly $10 million settlement. So 30 million is on top. She deserves it. She worked for it. I ain't even gonna hold you. Okay, so this is where we was going to go next. Now, again, we send our kids to school to learn. Some things come out then. This is something that's happened, I believe, from 2010 to 2014 in that area, but it just came to light. And it just lets you know how this has been going on a long time. This ain't just the new generation. This has been going on. We're now in 2025. If this has been going on 2010 and you're talking about 15, 16, Child, let's get into it. Okay. So, um, they're stating that this is absolutely unthinkable. Former Delaware middle school principal pleads guilty to essaying child. Okay. Former Delaware middle school principal, the principal, pleads guilty to essaying a child. Okay. So this is who we're talking about. Just want to give you a so you can put your eyes on it. Um, Well, it says a former school principal and teacher in Delaware has pleaded guilty to essaying a child over the course of 4 years. Tasha Purnell, 41, formerly known as Tasha Oliver, is charged with 2 counts of essaying and 1 account of continuing essaying a child for allegedly sexually assaulting a child under the age of 16 between 2010 and 2014. What do you think about that? I'm interested. Please see. These is what I need comments on. I want to go to my comments later on tonight or tomorrow and see what you're thinking. And that's once I start getting comments from you that I know that you're paying attention. Then we could go live and we can talk about it. Girl, I don't agree. I agree or disagree. Oh, I beg to disagree. How about that? I beg to agree. Whatever. These are this is a principle. I don't even know what to think about it. Our kids ain't safe, and we have to instill certain things in them in the home, and we have to have open communication with your kids and your grandkids and stuff. Do it. It's not like the old school where you're saying, "Oh, you're trying to be their friend and not their parent." You can be both, but you have to know where to draw that line. Okay. But you have to have open communication on being honest about what's happening on a day to day, being honest how you feel about things. That's how you're going to stay. Stop being so critical and saying, even if you don't agree with something your child has said, you don't have to verbally say it to their face. I don't agree with that. That's stupid, or such and such and such. No, take it in and think about it, because when you attack or when you say those things, it's like attacking them, and that doesn't make them comfortable about wanting to tell you anything. Every time I say something to mom, she go off the deep end, and every time I try to bring up something to dad, he goes this way about. And sometimes they want people to listen to them, meaning the younger generation. Sometimes they just want to be listened to, and you'll learn a lot about your child by just listening. Real talk, a lot about your child by just listening. Okay, so at the time, Tasha Purnell, who's also known as Tasha Oliver, which is 41 years old. At the time, Purnell was a teacher at the time of the essaying. She was a teacher at Stanton Middle School in Wilmington. She was later hired as an administrator at the DuPont Middle School in 2020. When the allegations first surfaced in 2023, Purnell was put on administrative leave, then fired in September of 2024 when she was arrested. Delaware Attorney General Cassie Jennings called Purnell's actions absolutely unthinkable. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of things you can't. Well, just to let you know, she's expected to be sentenced this coming August. So I will definitely get back to the story because I'm interested to see, since it's been such a long time and she's moved around from pretty much she was a teacher, then she was administrator, and which is principal, and I understand. So I want to see what kind of punishment she gets. Really, I'm interested. And I want to know about the story, because if it happened back in 2010, 2014, you're talking 15 years, 15 to 11 years ago. What happened? How did you find this out? Did the student come back and tell? Did he report it? Was it something that came while he was in therapy and he remembered? I'm interested to know how this went on for 11 to 15 years without anyone knowing. And now it's coming, because ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Okay. Yeah, we're hearing more and more and more. Right? Okay. Well, did you guys hear about the 2-year-old little boy who fell out of the 15th story window? a 15-story window and survived. Like real talk. And you want to say God ain't real? Baby, you can think what you want. You can, I don't care who you serve and who you believe in. If you believe you woke yourself up this morning, then that's fine. That's on you. I know I had a little help or a lot of help. How about that? Yeah, 2-year-old boy falls 15 stories from apartment building, but is expected to survive. Okay. Police said medical staff at the local hospital said the child sustained a broken leg and multiple internal injuries, but nothing life-threatening. Now, this is the building, so you're now seeing the building that he fell from. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's bring this up a little bit. So, yeah, they have a video, but I'm not going to play the video because I don't know how YouTube would actually like this video being played. So we're going to get rid of this, and I'm going to break down the story. Okay, so we're talking about a 2-year-old who somehow, well, you know what? I want to bring this picture up because I can almost kind of narrate if you can see what I'm saying, right? Okay, so let's get back to that. Let's get back to the picture. 15th floor, and apparently the kid was on one of these terraces. I don't know how high the building go, but we're talking about the 15th floor. So here we go up here. Wherever my arrow, we talking about these terraces up here, and they're supposed to be really, really high because I looked at a interview that they gave to neighbors that live in the building, and they said that this has never happened before, and the thing is really high. You kids can't, but kids are kids. They can climb, they can do, and it just takes a second. And this is a 2-year-old. Okay, so it's amazing, and that was nothing but God, a higher power, whatever you want to call it, and however and whatever you believe, that's what that was. It couldn't be anything else. No one else can even, you can't even explain how a 2-year-old, okay, mind you, their bones. Listen, a 2-year-old boy sustained multiple injuries after falling from a 15th floor apartment, right, balcony on Thursday, May 15th. Okay. Police said the child sustained non-life-threatening injuries after landing in bushes. No criminal charges have been filed in connection with the incident. A toddler is recovering. He's a toddler, 2 years old, after falling 15 floors, right? This happened in Maryland. So, the Montgomery County Department of Police announced in a press conference on Friday, May 16th, that the 2-year-old fell from the building on Oakleaf Drive in White Oak, Maryland, around 2 p.m. local time, Thursday, May 15th. Officers responded to the location and found the child had landed in the bushes 15 stories below where he allegedly fell from. Okay? The toddler was transported to a nearby hospital with what police described as non-life-threatening injuries. Police said medical staff at the hospital said the child sustained a broken leg and multiple internal injuries, but stated that the boy is expected to survive. No criminal charges have been filed at this time. They added detectives are continuing to investigate what factors contributed to the child's fall. Yeah, God is good. You have people that fall from 2 stories and 3 stories and don't survive. And for this child to fall 15 stories, I don't want to be too all up in it and everything, but I believe whoever this child is, has some type of calling. There's a reason he's here, because explain it. And bushes, even if you fell into bushes, what kind of bushes are these? Pepper-peated, like the mattresses. What kind of bushes are these? Because you're falling 15 stories, and we're talking about a 2-year-old whose bones are still brittle. They haven't really got strong yet. So you can grab a child a certain way and break something. This child fell 15 stories, and that's God. Thank God for that. I ain't gonna get too all into that, but we know what that is. And those that believe, fine. Those that don't believe, that's fine too. Okay. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really a huge basketball fan, and especially not a basketball fan from back in the what 70s and 80s and stuff like that. You know, of course you heard of the and you would say at least the 80s, right? Of course you heard of the Magic Johnson and the was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was like the biggest, like so tall and everything. And then I remember, okay, so I remember this player. I think he was from the Sudan. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm going to explain. And I'm going to chop up his name. I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't know his name like that, and I am gagging. Okay, so it says coach who recruited Manute Boya, admits he made up his birthday. He was probably 40 or 50 years old when he was playing in the NBA. Now, you know, there's an age bracket and an age group. And when you get to a certain age, you know, injuries and different things like that. But what they're saying about Manute Bol, right, is that when he was playing, they didn't know his age. And because he was 7'7", right? That's the T. That's the T right there. Back then, they didn't care what you did, where you left, cancel that, where you been. They 7'7". So they said Manute Bol was a Sudanese American professional basketball player, right? And political activist, listed as 7'6" and 7'7" in tall. Boyer was one of the tallest players in the history of the National Basketball Association, right? Now, he was born supposedly anywhere between 1946 and 1962, which is now called South Sudan, right? Now, he passed away June 19th, 2010, at the age between 48 and 64. He was either in his 40s or his 60s. Okay. Again, he was listed at 7'7". He was listed at 200 pounds. So they didn't care if he dropped out the sky. They didn't care what his name was. They didn't care what it was. They wanted him to play. He was 7'7", and that's what that was. Period. I can't tell you if he was a great player, but this is the story. Former Cleveland State head coach Kevin McKay, right, revealed a fascinating story about Manute Bol, the 7'7" Sudan basketball player, stating that Budor's actual birthday was unknown when he arrived in the United States, which means when they discovered him. Okay, they said with the Boyer family in the news, former Cleveland State coach Kevin McKay gives an interview about his first experience with Manute Bol back in the 1980s. Boyer never actually played at Cleveland State. They had on his resume that he played at Cleveland State. They gave a birth date. They didn't know anything about this man, really. They didn't know how old he was. They just knew he was 7'7", and they gave him a bio and worked it from there and put him in the NBA. Okay. And they said they actually never knew what his age was. They said when he was playing, he was either in his 40s or 50s. They weren't even sure. You know what I mean? They were not even sure. He, again, was the tallest 7'7" at that time. I don't know if anyone's taller at this point. And like I said, 200 pounds. So he was perfect for what they needed and wanted him for. And you think about politics and you think about, oh, this, that, and the third. It's not what you know, is pretty much who you know. This man being 7'7" was his complete blessing in his life. Brought over from Sudan, made a bio is made up for him. He's put into the NBA, made some money. I don't quite know how he was paid because we're thinking back to 80s. They did make money, like I said, but they didn't make the type of money that the athletes are making present time, you know, straight up and down. So listen, guys, that's what I got today. I'm going to try to get back to you as soon as possible. I've had stories these are the stories I've been sitting on, and I just wanted to get it on with you. I love you guys. Please be intentional. And I think I said to you on yesterday's video, which you'll see or have seen, love your friends, love your families. If you're receiving true love, unconditional love. There was a story about this prom, right? And the gay guy was going to the prom, but he was going to the prom by himself because he was outwardly gay. And his father decided to take, I'm sure some of you guys are aware of the story. The father took the son to his prom and he showed unconditional love. And that the boy, from what I saw from the guy, allegedly, he cried the whole time. He couldn't believe his dad. And the dad was standing 10 toes down, saying it with, he wasn't saying nothing with his chest. He was just there to support his child. All while people were talking to him and saying, yo, this is a beautiful thing. And some people, of course, had other feelings. How dare you do that? But listen, it is what it is. And at some point, whatever it is, you have to accept it. You can keep fighting it all you want. You can keep fighting your kids about whatever. But if it is, it is. And that's period. And this man stood 10 toes down for his son. And I that's unconditional love. That's unconditional love. He was pretty much like what? Picked up his son in Rolls or limo, something like that, dressed to the nine, everything. Of course, his son's attire for the prom because of, and not because he was gay, it was because of whatever his style was. It was a little over the top, but it was cute. It wasn't over the top like that. You know, it might have been a suit, and I remember it being some type of long sash. Okay, I could deal with it, but the point was, that father stood 10 toes down for his seed. I used to always hear y'all kids from my seed. He stood 10 toes down. And I salute you, salute you, salute you. Again, I want you guys to be good to one another and be intentional. I want you guys to like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm begging, I'm asking. And when I say begging, I'm really begging because a lot of times you watch my videos, come on, hit the like button. It don't cost you nothing. It's really free, I promise you. And I'm going to start doing giveaways. But like I said to you guys, there's things I want to start on my page, like going live, doing giveaways. Yeah. So the point is, I need you to like, comment, and share because for you to get the coins out my pocket in giveaways, because I see other people, they they keep it interactive. And times are hard. Going to the grocery store, you go to the grocery store for one thing and you wind up spending $50. So I can't go to the grocery store without spending $80 to $100. And I have two things on my list, but I end up spending $80 to $100. So who wouldn't like an extra $100? Who wouldn't like a gift card of $50 to go shopping or do whatever, or go to dinner or order you some? Who wouldn't want those type of things? So once I get to 2,000, this is the type of page I want to be interactive with my people. I want to sit down. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to add some things to this page and people to this page. I'm actually going to do interviews, and I'm actually going to do things with other influencers. Really. I love you guys. Stay intentional. I'm not going to talk you to death. I want you to have a great day. And I plan to see you between now and the weekend. If not, have a great weekend. And I love you guys. Stay intentional. Until next time. Until next time. Peace.